Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here with, I believe, the 109th episode of our first YouTube run through Book of Hours. Now, the new job has been wonderful, but I've been having very, very full days. And then we're talking, the tablet is well and truly dead. So most of my notes are gone, and I'm actually running into the odd problem of I'm misplacing the physical notes that I have. I have a few notebooks. Oh, actually, I might have just found them. But yeah, so I mean, it's a fun way to play the game, but I'm going to be a little more scatterbrained moving forward, I think, at least until I can get a little bit more rest and I'm feeling like I'm not rushing between recording sessions, or I can keep some more consistent notes, but we'll make do. So we are resting in winter. This is to get Faust back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly unpause just so I can bring all the timers back. So that's right, we are doing a whole bunch of reading. And I was exalting. Yes, okay, so this is one of the reasons why I wanted to make things tick down, because we were trying to improve Mr. Kill. And again, I'm fine doing this, but I need to make sure that this actually delivers the goods. So we've got Mr. Kill currently with 7 Sky. So where were we trying to take him? I'm guessing. Oh, we've already actually got to the the highest levels. So I think it must have been the Mist-Sunk Meadow. And I believe okay, so we're starting with the Didymos right away. So we bring him up to 9 with Faust. And so I guess it's the Fife, which brings him up to 12. Okay. After that, what I'll try and do is I will try and get another Didymos and maybe even an Ascendant Harmony. But obviously, that relies on a few more items from the Sweet Bones. As for the rest, I think at this point we're just going to see what the day brings. So, you know, in terms of what we're reading, in terms of any upgrades and all of that. I think at this point I just need to digest everything here. So let's unpause. We will read the books as they go by. I think the Asmail here is so that I can keep making Wormwood Dreams. I notice we don't have one of those right now, but that's also not a major priority for today. And then, yeah, I think right now I'm gonna enjoy reading the books and sort of parsing everything. And then we can get back on a bit more of an aggressive track in terms of getting everything done. The Snare of the Tree collected proverbs of Aunt Mopsy. Once in the wood we call a visit, twice in the wood we call a journey, thrice we call coming home. Every timber has its knots, the straight and the crooked both. Every weave is more absence than thread. You can't keep nowhere out any more than you can keep somewhere in. When the cuckoo learns the nightingale's song, our sleep is sweeter than honey. So this gives us a confounding parable. I'll make sure that I add that to the collection. And more Applebright Euphonies. That probably should have been obvious to me. There's a couple of things about Aunt Mopsy which would have pointed me towards that. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Now this, we have a small chance of actually being able to pull off because we've got the core. So this would require Grail and Sky. So we've already got the Confounding Parable. We have the Storm, which gives us the Sky. The Sun's Weakness gives us the Grail. And so really this is a matter of a conversation. In fact, we could just use the Ascendant Harmony, although I'd prefer to use that to get a Didymos. So Applebright Euphonies is definitely something that we could consider. Moving on, we've been reading almost every text we can get our hands on. Better now. So that's going to be for Mr. Kill when the time comes. And we have the Intimations of Skin, fiendishly complex, weirdly distorted illustrations of Congress and anatomy by the haunted visionary painter Niels Friedrich Malsker. Malskar illuminates the evolutions of the names of the Grail with unfortunate clarity. It seems that a lovely who consumes an ivory becomes an ivory, a lovely who consumes a thirstly becomes a thirstly, a lovely who consumes a name of another hour might take its place. In the penultimate illustration, a lovely grapples with a fungoid knot that can only be a name of the crowned growth. The lovely's mouth and other portals gape wide, and the growth name is already partially engulfed, but it seems that Malskar couldn't bring himself to illustrate the result. The final illustration is only a scrawled, bloated obscurity. So we got a beguiling melody for that. Now that... I'm trying to... I think... yeah, we're out of space for those. So I guess we switched the beguiling melodies and savage hymns. Okay, Desires and Dissolutions. This is a good one. But it's not a good time for it. It's a little bit like trying to level up Applebright Euphonies. Alright, now I'm not opposed to making some money at the Sweet Bones right now because I am going to need to restore the Faust before too long. There's not much work on offer in Brandkrug, but I can find 6 pence worth of odd jobs, or add coin to find visitors seeking employment. Memories don't last long outside books, but it's made the difference for the day. So here we go, talk to him about Faust. Together we will be watchful. Boosts Lantern and Sky. I think I gave it 2. I think I said I was going to move from 7 to 9. It's actually moving from 7 to 8 because Faust only has the 1 sky, but the Mazarine Fife will still take care of that for me. I kind of wanted to use the Fife right away. The catch is that I do also want to make sure that I'm renewing the Faust as early as I can. And I think in this case here, because I would like to try and get some memories, we might just hold off. We'll get Mr. Kill to open up the room at the end of the day rather than rush in like we did with the cell. So the long cell. The few long at Brandkrug were kept in cells triple buttressed with silver and steel and sanctioned spells. The Bureau knew their weaknesses, but never relied on them. This cell last housed 2 immortals, an edge-long dyad. This would have required not only ferocious and eternal vigilance, but also frequent replacement of shattered furniture. So here we have cudgels, Dagu and St. Trog. Very old iron cudgels, recently and heavily padded. Wasters, Darling Deer and Father Turk. Wooden swords of recent manufacture, never used. Bakken, Captain Torg and Mistress Deerday. Souvenirs from the east, heavily padded. We've got a Curia and a Nocturnal book. And we have the long cell, a bunk bed constructed for 2 immortals who can neither be together nor apart. Alright, so that's this level taken care of. We won't be able to get any higher until we open up the Smoky Chamber, which in this case requires Forge or Heart. Now let's chat with Mr. Kill about the Mazarine Fife. Proffer a tool. I can lend my assistant something to help, increasing their abilities. You'll still be able to use the tool. So yeah, not too much left for the rest of the day. I'm going to keep 1 element of the soul available just in case I actually, you know what? I should probably try to make the Daidumos sooner rather than later. The Book of Thrones, a legend of the Shadowless Empire, transcribed by Alexander Peterhans from the Annals at a Secret Shrine in Anatolia. In the first and greatest history, a subject of the Shadowless Empire of Persia travels to the west, to the kingdom of the Persids. There he becomes a protege of the tutelary Persid deity, the Scarred Man, who lives in the dark. He returns after 7 years to put his skills at the service of the Shadowless Empire, becoming their golden general. After many years of peace, the heirs of the Persids move against the King of Kings in the Shadowless Empire. The Golden General will not take arms against the blood of his mentor until the King of Kings whispers a secret of betrayal in his ear. He breaks his sword, forswears his oath to both the Empire and the Scarred Man, and enters the temple behind the world, leaving his life behind. So this gives us Auroral Contemplations, but I'm a little lost as to why we didn't get a memory out of that. That would be because it's the same memory of observations on the Peacock Door. Nangala of Lagash discusses the Peacock Door, the highest door available to mortals in the Mansis, a rent, an imperfection, an abrasion. Notably, the book is written in Vac, which by some accounts is another aspect of the Peacock Door itself. Nangala addresses this by apologizing courteously to the door, and the language at the end of every section. The Peacock Door did not exist, Nangala says, in the days when the gods from stone entered the Mansis. They used the fanged key to open the Savage Door, a door not usually available to mortals. Speech, as the initiates of Kion would have it, is a wound. I fear that through that wound the blood of the Mansis flows even now, and that one day speech will be an end to dream. I fear that, but I fear the alternative more. So this gives us a contradiction, and Sickle and Eclipse. So the thing that's going to make this a bit challenging is I'm actually very happy with what we've got, but we have quite a few challenging upgrades to do now. So just as a quick inventory of what we're up to. So we've got Applebright Euphonies, so that's going to take us from 4 to 6. In fact, we can probably line these all up now. Let's go. Like this. Desires and Dissolutions will go up to 7, so there we move the inks of containment out of the way. And then Auroral Contemplations is relatively low for this playthrough, but okay, so but yeah, so as far as a an effort to get everything leveled up is concerned, we've got a total of 6, sorry, not even 6. We've got a total of 8 memories to take care of for the rest of autumn. And in some of these, like Sickle and Eclipse, we are taking them to very high levels. Which is fine, because again, we have the tools, that we need to be able to do it. It's just I do want to be quite careful in terms of making sure that I make the time and get everything done. So I'm trying to think if it's a good idea for me to try and take the low-hanging fruit at the start or not. I think probably it would be better at this point. I should probably just work with what I can here. So Applebright Euphonies is a natural place to start. So we'll take the Confounding Parable, the Beguiling Melody, the Storm and the Sun's Weakness. That's depending on whether or not we get something else from Mr. Kill. So that's going to be the core spoken for. The Auroral Contemplations is kind of tempting because of the Lantern and the Edge. So I would theoretically be able to take the Old Wound and the Contradiction to make something out of that. That would only really need one more memory. The catch is that I'd rather not give up the Old Wound if I can. So we'll see what we've got. right now, I think conversations with Mr. Kill are going to be the trick to a lot of this. So I am still going to get the Faust in the hope that maybe I can upgrade the Ascendant Harmony. It is autumn when the leaves rustle. The silent landlady has served me apple pie with steamed cream in the window nook. And I think what I'm going to do moving forward is after today, we're going to be focusing on the main... we're going to be focusing on the most difficult skills, so no rooms, maybe not even cataloging books. But in this case, we're going to knock down Sickle and Eclipse, then Desires and Dissolutions, then Auroral Contemplations. And of course, Applebright Euphemisma. I'm probably going to get at least one of those today. Talk to Mr. Kill. Mr. Kill, Ryan Spry doesn't mind stopping for a gossip. So just to confirm, we've got the 11 Sky here. We've got the Mist Sunk Meadow. We will be good to go and when the day is done. But right now, it seems like a great way to get a few more memories and really let ourselves... basically, we want to know where we stand in terms of generating memories. I've got the health and the tryst to back myself up if I feel like I need an extra memory. So for instance, you know, the sun's weakness, maybe I don't give that up. It's a nice one that I can also move towards the Auroral Contemplations. And if we get a fear from Mr. Kill, for instance, okay, Revelation also works. So now instead of using the old wound, maybe we use the sun's weakness. The next question would be whether or not I want to try and do anything with the Sweet Bones. So with the health and the tryst, do I want to try and turn that into a... do I want to try and turn that into a, into money? So, let's start by seeing if I can level up the Ascendant Harmony into a Didymos. Why did I think that was going to work? I think it's Sacrament I was looking for. So I'm too short. Definitely the storm helps me here. Okay, yes. I'm gonna push for it just because the Didymos is very very helpful. We are gonna need music for... or hang on. I may not be able to do this with the music after all. I'm one short here. And I don't recall if I can use tools at these shrines. I don't think so. Trying to remember if I have a sky shrine or not. I mean, it's not a tragedy if it doesn't turn out. I really feel like there was a way that I could do this, and I'm just forgetting. It's not a tragedy if it doesn't turn out, but I do sort of feel like I'm missing an obvious step. Oh, I think maybe the hurricane lamp might have been... I just don't remember if the hurricane lamp was a consumable or not. For some reason I thought we had... oh yeah, we do have one. Well, you know what, let's give this a shot. So if we go hurricane lamp, storm, Ascendant Harmony, Sacralamea, and Faust. Sacralamea with Keeper level Sky plus Ascendant Harmony creates a Didymos. I can make a cheerful ditty, which we know is not going to be created by Mr. Kill. So let's do that for a start. And unfortunately, unless I find a way to restore... Oh. Okay, this is going to get interesting. I think I'm going to try and restore the Arab. Okay, let's focus on what matters first. So we go cheerful ditty first for the Applebright Euphonies. So we can get that from here. Let's do the Instruments of the Heart. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. So the next thing I want to do is find something that will help me with leveling up Applebright Euphonies. Again, that's a Sky or a Grail. And honestly, I keep feeling nervous about the Savage Hymn. I feel like it's one of those things that shouldn't be giving me Sky, and yet I think it's the Hive's Lament that keeps me from, or not keeps me, but like I think Savage Hymn is scale and sky, and Hive's Lament is the one that doesn't have the sky aspect. So let's work with that assumption. And we'll read Unhatched Hymns. That requires Sabazine. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. And then the last step has to be, I need to bring back the Arab because that involves edge. So rest and refreshment. Tuppence will buy me a hearty meal and a quiet place where I can rest and gather my thoughts. So this moves up here. In 1 minute we get 2. I'll probably wind up losing the Arab or the Grail. Dead men don't tell no bloody tales. Well, who'd listen? So that gives me another sky to work with. Mr. Kill Ryan Spry doesn't mind stopping for a gossip. If we wind up getting like a heart, or not a heart, if we wind up getting a sky or a Grail out of Mr. Kill in the 30 seconds, I'm going to be very happy. But I think what's probably going to happen here is that I'll be down either the Arab or the core the next day. Good Lord. All right, well, I'm happy about that, so let's level that up. Applebright Euphonies, Core, Gossip, Storm, Beguiling Melody, Confounding Parable. Now, I could go for more. You know, I could try the Desires and Dissolutions. I'm happy to take this this win. We're not really giving up anything that wouldn't have already been lost. You know, when the sun comes up. Better now. The Instruments of the Heart. Sister Isabel, then precentress of the Abbey Church of St. Brendan's, engages in dialogue with a heart-long, of a kind called Duendrazon, and that has taken partial possession of her body. The Duendrazon, like all its kind, usually dwells in the mansis, but it can enter the physical world by manifesting as music and take possession of a willing or semi-willing mortal who hears and loves that music, like Isabella. Isabella records her dreams of the High Mansis, where she is accorded the Duendrazon's status and titles. In return, the Duendrazon enjoys what it calls Sejura, a welcome oblivion. Our mostly blessing is that we may never cease except in Sejure. There is something more that Isabella refers to as the Sejura Magna, but she laments that her Duendrazon will not tell her exactly what that might be. So this is kind of just hanging around now, but we can probably make something of it. Here we've got the Savage Hymn, so unhatched hymns, hymns attributed to Saint Lucia the Eyeless, patron of Glassworks, and name of the hour called Menascate. The hymns venerate every sanctioned hour, celebrating them as the sun undivided, but also suggesting that each hour may become the next, madrigal to watchman, watchman to wolf, and so on. The hymns of the phases celebrate the Menascate from whom we do not turn, for the truth which is beauty, the beauty which is truth, and the perfect balance between the two. The hymn of the Reflections, more puzzlingly, celebrates the Menascate as sister of Janus, mother of shadow, whose visage wondrous in emptiness can reveal all truths. And the Savage Hymn, the music that urges valor and violence. Okay, no more memories coming in. We'll see if I can... I don't think there's any way that I can turn this into something I can use for the auroral contemplations. I think I am stuck with my... Oh, no, we'll wait 4 seconds with Mr. Kill. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to have to... in order to level up Auroral Contemplations, I'm definitely going to have to use... The skill is now level 5. Its power aspects have also increased. So I'm definitely going to need to use the sun's weaknesses. There's a way we can verify that too. So if I go to Auroral Contemplations, we add the lesson here, Arab. So if I click the memory, you can sort of see... 1, 2, 3. I could use the old wound, but it's actually easier for me just to reread the Sun's Weaknesses book. The reason why I wanted to talk about maybe preserving one of these here is that, or sorry, as many of these, or sorry, preserving the book and then one of these, or using one of these memories instead of, and preserving the memory from the book, is just that using the element of the soul to read the book, that's going to cost me something to bring it back. And I am trying to maximize the number of, the number of actions that I can take in a given day in order to be able to level up a given skill. Although the real nail biter is going to be for Sickle and Eclipse, I think. Anyways, let's not dwell too much on that. Let's think about what we preserve as part of our I don't know, night routine. So I can keep a cheerful ditty or I can keep gossip. I think the cheerful ditty makes a little more sense here. The logic behind this is that I could technically get a memory from, technically get a gossip from talking with a companion, but the music is not something that I'll get from that. So now whether or not I need, there's a counter argument to this, which is that it's really only useful to Applebright Euphonies, whereas the gossip is technically useful for Desires and Dissolutions and Applebright Euphonies. So it could have gone either way, to be honest, but I'm gonna keep the music. Finally, we've got the Mist-Sunk Meadow. There's grass beneath my feet and a mingle of wildflower scents, but above the damp salt vapors of a sick fog. Sorry, let's try that again. The grass beneath my feet and a mingle of wildflower scents, but above all the damp salt vapors of a thick sea fog. Somewhere in the fog, I think I hear a distant bell, far away, as if it were beneath the sea. Perhaps this can be blown away, perhaps sung away, if I bring the right powers and the right assistance. Okay, so the day's work is done. We'll probably be able to see the description of the area we're unlocking too, which is kind of nice. The last thing that I would hope for would be if we can get the... I think we're going to be down the Fost for tomorrow. But it would have been nice to, have the Didymos complete on time as well. The skill is now level 4. Its power aspects have also increased. Yeah, so probably too much to think that would have worked. I am never going to get this book, it feels like. So we've got an Iron Spintria, but the White Book of Brittany, a volume of death lore gifted to St. Brendan's by Brian of Brittany, who was made Earl of Cornwall after the Norman Conquest. Oriflammes, established 1776, Sense Sign Sciences. Dear librarian, we would like to offer you this opportunity to purchase I think this is definitely the one book of this trilogy that I've not read yet. It is one of the few games in this book. One of the few books in this game that I have not yet read. So, I think at this point, this is Weather Factory just trolling me. And yes, I am the sort of egomaniac to think that the game is specifically altered to mess with my my preferences. The dream of a star is not apparent to the human eye, but its presence, once felt, could not be mistaken for anything else. No star is permitted upon earth, but we may cozen them to dream of us, and the dream of a star may take a kind of form which we call Didymos. Thomas DeWolf. Let's get to work, so I can bring in Mrs. Kill. Mrs. Kill's mood always improves when I stop by. Mrs. Kill stands ready to help. You always cheer me up, she says morosely. Now, I think I'm going to start by restoring the foss. Tubbins will find me a hearty meal in a quiet place where I can rest and gather my thoughts. It is autumn when the leaves rustle. The silent landlady has served me apple pie with steamed cream in the window nook. And one thing that I'm going to want to do here, so the first thing that would be nice, and I don't need to spend all day sorting this out because I know we're right at the very end, but one of the things that I want to do at the start of the next broadcast is, I'd like to do it now, but I really do need to make sure that I'm getting this wrapped up on time. I'd like to take a look at what things are related to Sickle and Eclipse that I can read that I know I'm not going to be getting from one of my companions. So contradiction is a good example of this. Fear is not. So contradiction, Edge and Moon, it's one of the clearest examples where these things line up. This I'm never going to get from talking with Mrs. Kill, whereas fear is something I potentially can get from Mrs. Kill. And of course, in this case, we're going to want 6 and then 7. And if I can't generate 6 or 7 on my own, that's going to be a time when I need to think very hard about how am I going to make up that gap. Which is one of the reasons why I want to focus on things like Sickle and Eclipse and Desires and Dissolutions first. Because clearly, if I'm going to have to move heaven and earth, if I need to, make a wormwood dream or something like that, I want to know that as early as I can. But I did promise that we would see what the Mist-Sunk Meadow contains, so I know I should probably leave it as a cliffhanger, but here we go. Earl Brian's Field. Brian is another one of those leitmotif names that recur all through Brankrug's long histories. This one was Brian of Brittany, who is named Earl of Cornwall by King William after the conquest. In 1068, the sons of the deposed King Harold mount raids on Cornwall, and Brian funds the construction of a fortified gate and the Watchman's Tower, initially in wood to protect the abbey. In return, the abbey gives shelter to a yew tree he's brought from Brittany that flowers in divers colors. This is that tree, hollow now and rotting slowly from within, taking its time to die gracefully. It has not flowered in living memory, and the color of its flowers cannot be told, but Brian's brothers were called Alan the Red and Alan the Black. So, we will talk more about this in a future episode. Thank you very much for watching. I also wanted to say at the start, maybe I should say this at the beginning of the next one, but I've noticed the comments. I was feeling not too lonely, but there was a little bit of a sort of a gap in them for a bit, but I was very happy to see a few of you commenting again, even if they're on older videos or that, but thank you very much for doing so. Just a reminder that the broadcast doesn't happen on Tuesdays, that's an off day, but we will be back on Wednesday for more Book of Hours. Until then, take care.